What's up, everybody? This is my 2015 Honda Grom. Today we're going to do a sprocket and a chain replacement, but I thought I'd show you a step-by-step of how to do this. That's actually not a fair statement because I've never done this, so I actually don't have any idea what I'm doing, but I am going to go through it step by step, and I am going to video what we're doing. And you know, if it's helpful, great. If it's not, well, then you know, what else are you doing with your 15 minutes of YouTube time? These are the parts we're actually using. I've used these Maxima wax and clean parts since I got the bike. I do it every couple hundred miles, and it's still the original chain that's on there. So it's done a great job at helping it last. But today we're going to put on this Protaper 420 MX. I've already had that cut to length, and then this 14 tooth sprocket. Should waken the bike up just a little bit. Alright, so here I've got the disassembly started. Just want to give you a status update. Most of this is not anything new to anybody. So I've gone ahead and removed the rear splash guard here. It's just these little Allen keys that hold that on. It probably didn't need to come off, but I like to have everything as out of the way as is reasonable. That gives me nice exposure to the chain. I've also loosened up the rear axle and the adjustment nuts here, so I've got lots of slack on the rear tire, which is going to come in really handy. If we come up here, you'll see I've already got this cover off. This cover that usually sits right there. It's filthy, as you can see, so this is a good time to clean that all out. And it's just got there's an 8mm here and here that hold it in, and then these wires that are just strapped in. If we look at this, let me orient it properly to the camera. This little clip you can see on the top, it's just a snap clip. You can open that up easily and pull those wires out of the way. Other than that, it just sort of, you take those out and it pivots out, giving us nice access to our sprocket. Two 10mm here, and the retaining clamp that goes over the counter shaft, and you can see that's splined, so this will all line back up exactly right. Alright, so we've taken that's the old sprocket, and this is I've got a helper now, by the way, so this should be a little easier. And that's the retaining nut. This is actually keyed, so when it comes off, it twists slightly to come off of you can see the counter shaft there. I've got the chain out of the way. It's got a key on the back of it, so when that comes out, it kind of locks in place. So when you're pulling this off, the 10mm bolts that were there come out really pretty easy, and then just this gives it a little twist and comes straight out, and we'll reuse all that. And then this guy, once that's out of the way, the sprocket pops right out. Now our new sprocket is this Sunstar 14 tooth. That'll go back on exactly the same way. I'm going to clean that off first, obviously, but and these parts, I'm sure other sprockets are the same way. It's got two sets of bolt holes here. Only one of them is going to line up, so I'll line that up before I put it all together. But that's the guy for the front sprocket. Alright, in the meantime, since we're also doing the chain, I've looped this around, and you can see here's the master link. I'm going to go ahead and use a basic pair of lineman's pliers. I've seen guys do this with needle nose pliers. I'm sure anything works, but just going to line this up on that back nut and the front and give it a little pop, just like that. This is the part where people who have done this are laughing at me going, yeah, you can tell he's got no idea what he's doing, and that's okay with me because you'd be 100% right. You are watching this unfold for the very first time. That's the master link, so he's off and out of the way. And then, I presume, this guy just sort of pulls out. That's what the master link, sorry, that's the lock for the master link, what I meant to say. That guy's our actual master link right there. He's out of the way, and now we can just coil our chain out of there. So, I've gone ahead and cleaned, there's the original sprocket and bracket. It's still got a little scoring on it. I'm not super worried about having a little bit of that on it, but this got a lot cleaner. I'm just using WD-40. WD-40 is basically kerosene, and it's done a great job. I don't use it to actually maintain the chain. I showed you those Maxima parts that I use earlier for cleanup and lubrication, but for something like this, to really cut that grime down, seems like a great application for a product like this. So I haven't cleaned the actual counter shaft yet, so let's go ahead and start that. We'll just film that part since I have my sidekick here. Say hello, Xander.
Hello.
Xander's 10, and it's a Saturday, so he decided he'd come help his dad out a little bit, which I appreciate. I don't think I'm going to worry terribly about making this perfect. I mean, this is all going to get filthy again the first time I run lubricant through there anyway, but as long as I'm in here and I can get off as much of the built-up stuff as possible, I don't see a reason why not to. I don't know, you can put in the comments, I suppose, and tell me all the rookie mistakes I'm making, but I don't recommend anybody themselves do it the way I'm doing it. I am simply filming my first time. If that helps anybody out there do it their first time, then great, I'll take it. However, I will make one recommendation. Don't do this in 105-degree heat. Wish I had a garage. I also read a guy that said, oh, my Grungebrush, I love this little guy. I read a guy that said to do this when the bike's cold. I haven't ridden it today, so hopefully that makes it a slightly less arduous process. I'll finish off with just a nice cotton-free towel that will get up any of the little paper towel fibers that I just used down inside there. And then when my wife says, hey, did you use that to clean up any grease? Because she won't put them in the washing machine if they've gotten dirty. Xander, if your mom asks, nope, this did not clean up any grease. This is just, you know, dirt off the side of the engine. No grease on that, we can totally clean it. So I had to go ahead and finish without filming the last part. I suppose complaining so much about the heat finally got to me, or rather got to my phone, and it decided it was too hot and shut down in the middle of that last clip. So I went ahead and finished, and we'll just do a little wrap up. I've reassembled the cover here, again 8mm, and little wire retention clamp. There's our new gold chain. It's obviously just the reverse of what we did. There's not rocket science here. So it was an easy process, and it's all reassembled. Now, the immediate question everybody's going to ask is, with putting on a 14-tooth sprocket, what did that do? Well, what I noticed immediately is it spends more time in the power band. I wouldn't say it's got more power. Obviously, we didn't do anything to add power, but it's definitely got a sense of a little less rotational mass and picks up more fluidly. I'm just going to come out onto the main drag here briefly. What about the speedometer? I know it's rattly. I hope you can see that at all. Speedo's currently reading 20, 21. My GPS speedo says 19 and 20. So it seems, yeah, now it's 18. So it seems to be reading high by about 1 mile an hour, which is perfectly acceptable with me. I'm not remotely concerned about the 1 mile an hour difference. How did this go for a first timer? It's got no real mechanical experience. I'd rate it like a 1 out of 5 on the difficulty scale. It took me about 30 minutes and was a noticeable improvement. I'm going to say improvement for the kind of riding that I do, which is stop and go city traffic. I'd recommend it. It's a cheap part, 30 minutes of time, and it was real easy to do. If you love your Grom, and we all do, do it.